soft skills are when I was younger, I was like, that stuff doesn't matter. Just put me in charge and I'll be the boss. And we don't need, I always kind of looked down on that. And then I did a course, well, I did a semester at business school. God, it's been a decade now, but I came out of that going, wow, it's the soft skills are the most important thing. And then, as we're hiring astronauts for new astronaut classes at NASA, when I was involved in that, that was the thing I always looked at most importantly. There's lots of people that are smart and they have degrees and they're technical, but you want somebody that you can work with. Um, and that's not always a common skill that people have. So being able to work in teams, I think, is really important. I think that younger people have different uh, attitudes and personalities and desires than older people do. So there's a generational issue. And so I think that, older folks need to try and understand the younger generation and what motivates them. I think what motivates them is more like purpose and mission, whereas older generations like just wanted a job and a paycheck. And, so there's a difference there. So, and younger people need to understand that they're going into organizations where it's not just, actually you have to earn money or you go out of business. And so, what I mean? Like, but I think intergenerational understanding is important. And I think if, having some, if you're going to put a team together, make sure you have people who are going to have different opinions. You don't want everybody the same, because if everybody is the same, then you might all march off the cliff. So have people that are going to have different opinions. And I hate to use the word diversity because it's always, you just hear it 24/7. But you really do need some, diversity. When I was like, if I had a team and everybody, I said, all right, what should we do? We have these decisions to make. If everybody on the team said we should do A, I would always make the last person say B. Like, tell me why we should do this. Even if you don't believe it, even if it's a stupid idea, convince me that I should do it. Just so you get some different thought and stuff, because that's where innovation and creativity comes from. Someone having an idea that no one else has thought of.
That's a perfect transition for the next subject, which is startups. Eric Schmidt said during his tenure at Alphabet that being a pilot really helped him because you have to take decisions very fast and pilot.
Right.
Being a pilot, so I'm glad you to have this skill. So if you will invest in a startup or create a startup today, what market will you look at? And second question is, what can an entrepreneur learn from a pilot or an astronaut's skills?
Okay, so where would I invest in today? I think the future is going to have a few key technology elements. I think one of them is robotics, which is actually, I think there's a few big threats to the world, that we live in, and one of them is the coming robotic revolution is going to put a lot of people out of work. And I saw a report recently about what countries are most susceptible to that. And like high tech countries, America is susceptible, but we have a lot of innovation and so on. Countries like China that are almost all like manual labor manufacturing are really susceptible to robotics because their jobs could be wiped out. And so that's kind of, it could be a destabilizing force in the coming decades. But with that being said, I think there's going to be a lot of money to be made in the robotic universe. And kind of along those lines, AI, again, it's one of those terms. It's like diversity. Everybody's always talking about AI, but computers being smart and thinking is here to stay. So I think there's going to be a lot of money to be made in that. I think green energy is another area where there's a lot of money to be made. The hydrogen economy hasn't happened yet because there's some real technical problems. It's hard to store hydrogen. It's dangerous. And it's hard to make hydrogen in a clean way. So, when those problems are solved, especially for aviation, battery powered airplanes are okay, but there's a lot of problems with that too. That's not the best way to do it. If you could fill it up with hydrogen instead of hydrocarbons, man, that's where you get the energy density that you want for aviation. Drones are a big thing for the future too for aviation. I've been working with a drone company for the last year. It's a startup, so that's one of the things I've been doing. Space startups is a tough business because they're, if you want to get into launch, you're competing with Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. So good luck. But there's other things to do in space besides launch, and there's some really cool opportunities. Although, I went to Harvard Business School, and I'm a guest lecturer there. I teach a class a couple times a year there, and I was speaking to the aerospace group. They have the MBAs. They go into banking and manufacturing, and they have an aerospace club. And I said, "Do you guys want to, how to become a millionaire in the space industry?" And they perked up. Yeah, how do you become a millionaire? And I said, "You start off as a billionaire, and then you can end up as a millionaire, right?" Because the point being, space is a tough business. But I think there are some people who are definitely going to be winners there. But you have to pick if you want to if you have an idea of how to build a rocket, man, that is a tough sector to get into. But there's other things, manufacturing, communication, power, mining. There's other parts of space, I think, that are open for that.
Just, yes, on the final question, I think most of the audience here is looking to a rebound and what's going to be next. Shall we start the startups? Shall I change career? What is your final thoughts on that? What's going to be the next path? What kind of message would you like to give to the aerospace family, which has been pretty badly hit by the COVID crisis?
Well, I think if your passion is aerospace, if you love building airplanes, if you love flying airplanes, it's going to come back. I'm getting my second shot this week. The world is getting vaccinated. I've been traveling for business. You just have to wear a mask. You're going to have to wear masks. You're going to have to clean things down. Some things will be different, but it will come back. So if you can stick it out, your airline is going to start flying again, or other airlines will be hiring. But if there's other things you want to do, if you're passionate about green energy or robotics or drones or whatever, cyber skills are super important, then maybe you really have to look inside your soul and figure out where your passion is. If it's aerospace, then stick it out. It's going to come back. And if you're open to a second career, maybe now is the time to look at the world in general and see where things are going. And it's like getting into plastics back in the 1930s, or getting into computers in the 80s, or, there are times in history when things change. And if you're an entrepreneur and you got that, risky tolerance for risk, maybe now's the time to do it. But risk means sometimes you fail. It doesn't mean just because you're going to go do something, you're going to be successful. So you kind of have to be really brutally honest with yourself. Like, I'm going to try this and I might fail, and then I'll be broke. So you have to be ready for that.
It's definitively part of the equation. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to know that the odds are not with you. So you have to be prepared for that.
Since I left NASA, I've been told no 100 times, especially in the Hollywood and the TV project. I've worked on a lot of different TV ideas. I pitched people. You're just constantly told no. And that's something that I never was told no. I got everything I wanted for the first 20 years of my career. So this is kind of a new experience for me, but that's all right. It's just something you have to develop thick skin for, if that's what you're going to do. But like I said, my buddy at United didn't fly for 14 months and he's on reserve today. So, it's coming back. Since I left NASA, I've been told no 100 times, especially in the Hollywood and the TV project. I've worked on a lot of different TV ideas. I pitched people. You're just constantly told no. And that's something that I never was told no. I got everything I wanted for the first 20 years of my career. So this is kind of a new experience for me, but that's all right. It's just something you have to develop thick skin for, if that's what you're going to do. But like I said, my buddy at United didn't fly for 14 months and he's on reserve today. So, it's coming back.
It's coming back. That's great news. Great.
So getting all those no's, Terry, that you were talking about, that reminds me of, I saw a report, Thomas Pesquet was on TV, on French TV last night.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he's on his way to the ISS, and you know, he was saying it's the second time round. So second time round is scarier than the first time round. It's like a second parachute jump, you know what's coming. So I was just wondering whether that resonated with you, you know, second time round, you know what's coming, so it's a little bit scarier. You prepare differently.
Yeah, but for me, the first time was so good, I was looking forward to it the second time. So it wasn't like, you know, if you know what I'm afraid of the second time around is my shot. Like the first shot I got was fine, but everybody I know, my friend is like home with a fever. Everybody gets sick on their second shot, so I'm not looking forward to that. But flying in space, the second time for me was good. Actually, the first night we went out, we strapped in, and I was kind of nervous. Like I've never done this before. And then we scrubbed because of weather. We canceled the launch because of weather. So when I went out the second night to do it, I was actually a lot more confident. So I think for me, actually, my experience for these kind of things, the second time has been more confidence and more fun. You can try to change things, or you just have to go in and you know, you just have to be willing to be told no. And especially in this world that I'm in, you know, most of the time you're told no. It's just a very interesting thing. Or if you want to be an astronaut, you're probably going to be told no. Like, you know, thousands of people apply and only a handful are picked. So you have to be ready for that. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Of course, you should do it. If that's what you want to do, you have to be true to yourself and be willing to do it. But for me, so Einstein, here's another quote for you. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So if you know, if this pitch isn't working, you have to change things. And I have done that. But again, it goes back to Teddy Roosevelt. You just have to, the man in the arena, you have to put yourself in the arena. You have to put yourself out there. If you don't put yourself out there, you're going to be told you're not going to get it. Right. So when I do my speaking, one of my, I guess my motivational, point, or my motivational speech is don't tell yourself no. If you tell yourself no, you're not going to get whatever it is you're trying to get. If you tell yourself yes and you try and get it, the other person might tell you no, but at least you've tried it, and then you can figure out a different way to do things.
That's definitively the conclusion of the situation today. That definitively you have to be a go-getter and keep trying and keep pushing doors. I think
Right.
like you said, the aerospace is going to come back, and that's a very positive message you give back today. That's very, very interesting.
My son is applying to medical school right now, and this year the medical school applications in America are insane. This one school he's waiting to hear back from, 7,500 people applied for 50 slots. So it's like trying to be an astronaut. It's crazy how many people applied. So I was asking my doctor last month, I was at an appointment, and I said, how many, you know, my son's interested. How was your experience? He told me that he applied to 70 medical schools, and he got one interview and he got accepted. So he got told no 69 times before he was told yes once. It was a cool story, but
one chance out of 70. So I think it's a good way to conclude, and
right.
That's the way people have to send a resume and look at different offer. And like you said, the industry is going to come back. So thank
Right.
you very much for your time today. It was great to have this exchange and very positive skills and what has to be done next for the future.
Sure.
Mhm.
Thanks for having me. This is a great thing you guys are doing. And, you know, the aerospace industry has the best people, I think, are attracted to aerospace. So I know you have a lot of people in your audience who are really good people. They're talented, they're flexible, they're smart. And so I think they need to be driving the economic recovery for the future.